Hi, and welcome to the second exercise in triangulation. This is the exercise that we did in class, exercise 1A, and it basically comprises of a 5 by 3 rectangle with a 2 by 2 square in the left hand side. So let's go up and grab the rectangle command. You can see I've got my F9 key on. Just left click somewhere on screen, and then shift 2 followed by 5, 3, then enter. And that will place a 5 by 3 rectangle on screen. Just going to zoom into that a little bit, come back to my rectangle command, and coming from the lower left corner, go across to the right one and up one. That will place us a ½ inch in and a ½ inch up from the corner of our rectangle, and you left click. Press shift 2 again to get another @ sign, followed by 2, 2, enter. And that will place the 2 by 2 square in the right place within the rectangle. The last thing to do on the plan view is to come up to the polyline command and click the corners of the rectangle, join it to the square all the way around this shape. These ones of course are the bend lines. So the last one going on, and that's the plan view done. So just move it up an appropriate distance, just towards the top of your screen, and we're going to do the side or front view. So go to the polyline command, come down from this corner, roughly about there. I didn't actually bring the drawing home with me, so I'm not sure whether it was a 1.5 or a 2. I'm just going to make it 2 because regardless of the height, the developments are going to be the same, and that's really what we're practicing. So I'm going up 4 clicks, that's 2 inches, and 1 across, and click. Now, if I move it to the right, I can click 2 inches below that point there, and then the last one is this one in the corner, and then finish off that shape. Right, that's our basic shape, the one we're going to be developing. And just like the first exercise, the first thing we're going to do is to place our true length grid to the right of this view. So up to the polyline, place a point on that lower right hand corner and just pull it across to the right. Now there is no length that we need to pull this line out to. What you need to be aware of is you can see this point here. If I go to the farthest point, apart from the flat, which we're going to put on the screen in a minute, this farther point is nearly 5 inches long. So it has to be at least 5 inches of drawing area so that this circle will drop down onto this line. So as long as it's longer than the actual item, you should be good. We're going to place our second line on, showing the true height. And the last line we put on is our start point, which will give us a base measurement. And the base point is right here, lower left of the grid. So, to get started, anything that is flat to view, that's that big rectangle and the 2-inch square, just like the other one. Those ones are basically, you could take those ones directly from the drawing and just move them across. This bottom edge is 5 inches, that bottom edge is 5 inches. We need a 5-inch line basically across here. So let's go get a polyline, place it somewhere to the right of the plan view, and just move it to the right and hit 5, then enter. That gives us our baseline. So this line is this edge. Next thing we need to do is to develop out this side. So I'm just going to go and get a different color. Just go grab yellow. Just put a circle from this corner to that first top corner. I need to copy that from its position grabbing its center point and move it down to the baseline to develop out the true length, which will be the plan length versus the true height. So between these 2 points. So grab a polyline, go down from that top point to the point on the base. I'm going to need to turn off my F9 key to get it accurately, and left click. This true length now we will transfer onto this end of the line by drawing out a circle and using its radius. So just zoom in, make sure we're right down there. That's it there. And because we've drawn on the development from the lower left hand corner and gone up this edge, we will place this large circle from its center point on the lower left hand corner of the development. So copy, left click the circle, pick it up by its center point and place it to the left hand side of that line. So I'm changing colors now to the next color down, which is green. I'll place a circle from this other corner now right over to that side. You can see that this can get a little bit messy because some of the circles you draw are going to be rather large. Now I need to copy this green circle from the center point down to this lower point, base point on our little graph. Now I'm going to draw a line from this top point to the point at which it intersects the baseline. That becomes our radius. Drawing another circle from this top down the length of that radius line. Now you can see that this circle here is just slightly bigger than the other two that went on. And we did measure from this lower right hand side over to the point at which the yellow circle touches the square. So we're going to copy this larger circle that we just developed, the one that's based on the true length line, from its center point to the right hand side of this line. And you can see now between these two there is an intersection, and that we can actually draw a line directly up from. So let me switch colors. I'm going to go back to by layer, which is a white layer, the one we started off on, and then hit my polyline command. Coming from this lower left hand corner, I'm going up to the point of intersection between green and yellow off the circles that we developed on either end. Now, just like the first exercise, if you look at this line that we're now going to put across, it's 2 inches long and it's dead flat, so we can just draw it directly onto screen. So from there, just type 2, enter, and we've got the end of our 2-inch line, which represents the top of that 2-inch square. We've got all of the parts on there, so we can come down to this corner now and left click. So that is the developed pattern for this left hand or front side, if you like. Right, the next thing to do is, just as before, this gets very messy. So we're going to go to Layer Property Manager and left click. And on the Layer Property Manager, we hit the New Layer button, which is on that group of 4. It's the left hand one. So Layer Property, I'm going to leave it straight as that. So I go up to this top bar and hit the little cross and just check to make sure that that layer's on there, which it is. There's layer 1. So I'm just going to go around now and select all of these circles that we used just now. I'm going to grab the little one on the bottom there, the 2 true length lines, and then these circles that we developed off from it. I do a right click, um, left click on properties, and go up to this part here where it says layer, then 0. Just go to the just to the right of the 0, and you'll see that it's actually a little button. There's a triangle on the end, so click it and then swap everything over to layer 1 by clicking the layer 1. We can now close that down. All of the circles and the lines have been put over there, or at least I hope they have. So I can go and open up that list now, and you'll see there's a yellow light bulb to the left. Left click it, and then left click somewhere on screen, and everything apart from our developed panel and the original drawing that we put up there is gone. It's not really disappeared, it's just on another layer, and you can't initially see it. Okay, so we have this first shape up there, and again, just like the first exercise, we will look to actually manufacture this. This is symmetrical down this center line, so we would need a point midway up this line here, and midway up this point there. We'd produce two items, fold one left hand, one right hand, and they will go together. So we're looking now at developing off the top of this pattern, and because this is flat, we can actually get a direct measurement off of this, and the same with the bottom part. So I'm just going to draw two white circles from the bottom of that line and type in MID for mid to the midpoint of that line. Now I'm going to do another circle from the other one and type MID, and you see the little green triangle again, and snap that one to that line. Now these, because they are already the right size, can be moved directly to these corners. The one that's on the top of this panel goes to there, and the one that's on the bottom goes to the base point. So copy this circle from its center point to the top, and then we can copy that circle from its base point to the bottom. So I'm going to go up and grab a different color. This time it's going to be light blue, and now I'm going to put a circle off of this pattern from the top, that's the left hand white circle center, so the top of that square to that point there. So we're actually going to measure across this diagonal, because we've got this side, we just haven't triangulated it to the other known point. So this one is coming from this point. When I've done this development, it will be placed on this point. That's the top of that projected side. So grab the copy command and move that light blue circle down to that base point on the graph you drew, and enter. Now draw a line, which is the true length of that feature, from the top to the point at which the circle intersects the baseline. That's now your true length. So we can draw a larger circle off of that top point and pull it out to that intersection between the blue circle and the baseline. So copy that circle by its center point and place it on that top corner. Now you can see, if I right click and enter to get rid of the other blue circle, you can see that there is an intersection between white and blue right there, so we can go from that point to there. But at the moment we don't know how long that edge is, so we will need to do the other development. So I'm coming down to magenta, grabbing a circle. We've done the one from the top point to there, so now we need to go from the bottom to the other midpoint. Okay, so we're going from that point there to the midpoint. Now we can copy this magenta circle from its end point down to that base point, You see it's just slightly larger than the light blue one. Grab a polyline from the true height point out to where this one intersects. Now pull a circle from that same top point to the point where that magenta one intersects. Okay, so now I'm going to move or copy. I'm going to copy that large magenta circle by that center point. We developed it from this lower edge, so it's going to that lower edge right there. Right click and enter. So there you can see we got the blue one off the top edge, the magenta one from the bottom edge, and we have these two intersection points. So changing it back to bilayer, grab a polyline and go from the top to that intersection, across to the other intersection, and back to the end of the pattern. And that basically is the first side of the pattern done. I will create another layer called layer 2 and then put all of these circles on it so that they're all out the way, and I'll meet you back in the next section.